Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has issued a chilling warning to South Africa, accusing President Cyril Ramaphosa's government of distorting the truth about the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo and making it clear that Rwanda is prepared for confrontation. But is this merely about a disagreement over mediation? Or is Kagame pursuing a far more ambitious geopolitical agenda, one that could see the map of Africa redrawn?
Today, this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are He keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about.
Late on January 29, 2025, Kagame took to social media to dispute Ramaphosa's account of their recent conversation, claiming that South African officials had twisted facts, made deliberate attacks, and even lied. His frustration stemmed from statements made by Ramaphosa and his government in the wake of the deaths of 13 South African soldiers deployed under the Southern African Development Community mission in the DRC. Why would Kagame take such a direct and public approach if he had nothing to hide? Could his dismissive stance towards South Africa's mediation be a smokescreen for a more calculated move in the region? Pretoria has been forced into a difficult position, balancing the deaths of its soldiers with its continued military intervention in the DRC. The South African government has blamed the escalating violence on the M23 rebel group, widely believed to be backed by Rwanda, as well as the Rwandan Defense Force itself. South Africa's International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola insisted that Pretoria was working with the African Union and the United Nations to push for an immediate ceasefire. But does Kigali even want peace, or is Rwanda setting the stage for a new order in Central Africa?
M23 are not Rwandans.
Kagame's response was scathing. He dismissed South Africa's role in the mission, claiming that SAMIDRC was not a peacekeeping force, but a belligerent force, actively supporting the Congolese government against Rwanda's interests. He went further, accusing SAMIDRC of working alongside the Forces Démocratiques de Libération du Rwanda, FDLR, a militia with ties to the perpetrators of the 1994 Rwandan genocide. If Kagame's claims are true, does this mean that South Africa's military mission is indirectly empowering those responsible for Rwanda's darkest chapter? Or is this simply Kagame using history to justify his own military ambitions? The tension between Kagame and Ramaphosa intensified when Kagame rejected claims that he had been warned by his South African counterpart. Instead, he turned the tables, asserting that Ramaphosa had requested logistical assistance to ensure South African troops had electricity, food, and water. If true, this paints a humiliating picture of South Africa's military intervention. What kind of force enters a conflict zone only to beg for resources from an alleged adversary? And more importantly, Does this expose a broader failure of South Africa's regional strategy? Kagame doubled down on his position, arguing that Ramaphosa privately acknowledged that M23 was not responsible for the deaths of South African soldiers, but rather the armed forces of the DRC. If Kagame is telling the truth, why would Ramaphosa publicly frame the narrative differently? Could this be part of a larger geopolitical chess game where both leaders are manipulating the truth for their own strategic gain? Ramaphosa, for his part, remained resolute, stating that South Africa's military presence in the DRC was part of a peacekeeping effort, not a declaration of war. He insisted that SAMIDRC was there to protect civilians and uphold regional stability. But if South Africa is merely a neutral peacekeeping force, why is Rwanda reacting so aggressively? Could it be that Kagame sees any South African involvement in the DRC as a direct threat to this influence in the region? Adding another layer to this complex geopolitical saga is the accusation that Kagame has been backing former DRC leader Joseph Kabila, an allegation that raises serious questions about Rwanda's true intentions. Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi accused Kabila of supporting the U.S.-sanctioned coalition of rebel groups, further complicating efforts at peace. If Kagame is indeed working behind the scenes to reinstall Kabila, or at least keep him as a key player, does this suggest that Rwanda is looking to exert direct control over the DRC's political future? Could this, in turn, be part of a broader plan to reshape the region's borders and alliances? The battle for control over the eastern DRC has long been one of Africa's most devastating conflicts, with more than 100 armed groups competing for land, resources, and political power. Now, with M23 seizing major territory, including parts of Goma, the situation is more volatile than ever. If Kagame is indeed supporting the M23 rebellion, what does this mean for the sovereignty of the DRC? Is this conflict merely about security, or is it the first step in a much larger territorial ambition? Many international observers have warned that the growing hostility between Rwanda and South Africa, both of whom wield significant influence on the continent, could spiral into a wider African conflict. If Rwanda is indeed trying to redraw the map of Central Africa, it risks triggering a devastating regional war. Can the African Union and the international community afford to stand by while this power struggle unfolds? Or is it already too late to stop what could be a major geopolitical shift? In the end, Rwanda's decision to downplay South Africa's mediation efforts reveals far more than just diplomatic tensions. It exposes deep-seated rivalries, military ambitions, and a potential reconfiguration of Africa's political landscape. Whether Kagame is simply maneuvering to protect Rwanda's national security or executing a calculated plan to reshape regional borders remains an open question. But one thing is clear: if the world ignores these warning signs, it may soon wake up to a Central Africa transformed by war, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of power. Your perspective matters. Do you think Rwanda is downplaying South Africa's mediation efforts? And do you think Kagame is looking to redraw Africa's map? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the New Africa channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.